Today I'm going to show you how to make this cute plush owl hat out of blanket yarn. It's a sack hat that I have made eyes and beak to applique onto the front, and it starts with a foundation double crochet, so it has a little bit of stretch to it. And this tutorial, the hat will fit a teen or an adult size. You can adjust it to make it smaller if you want. So let's get started. To make the owl hat, you will need Bernat blanket yarn. Color is Oatmeal. I have also used Bernat blanket yarn in dark gray, white, navy, and orange leaf. You will also need a size L or an 8mm hook, a pair of scissors, and a darning needle. So let's get started. We're going to make a slip knot, and you want to leave enough to sew in a tail so that you can attach your band when you're done with this first row. So we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to do a foundation double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 1, and yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. And then we're going to go back into the bottom of that first foundation double that we made and make another. And then we're going to continue until we have 42 foundation double crochets. So now would be a good time to go ahead and pause and make your 42 foundation double crochets. Alright, I'm at the end and I have made 42 foundation double crochet stitches, and you want to go ahead and make sure your edge of your hat is going the same way, and we're going to put it together and turn it around so you have the circle, and here is your first stitch at the top. This one doesn't count. Here's your first stitch at the top, and you're going to slip stitch into that stitch. Now the bottom isn't together yet, but don't worry, that's why we left a long tail, and we're going to attach that and weave that in. So you're going to chain 2, and now you're going to do this chain does not count, and then you're going to do in that same stitch, you're going to go ahead and make a double crochet, and you're going to continue to go around your circle making 42 double crochets. Don't worry about that that's not attached. We're going to attach that after we get around. Just make sure that your circle is going, it's not twisted. You don't want it to be twisted in there. It's a good time to stop and pause the video and go ahead and stitch all the way around, and then I'll meet you back to the other side. Okay, now I'm at the back to the beginning of the second row, and I want to make sure you can see this join. This was the slip stitch, so this is the last stitch of the row. So this is number 42. And then we're going to join in the top of that first stitch. Not the chain 2, but the top of the first stitch. And now is a good time to go ahead and verify your count, and then we're going to go ahead and sew this band together. So I'm going to flip it right side out. Okay. Now we're going to sew the bottom of the band together. So you just get your needle, and I like to go through the bottom loop and back through where the knot was, the slip knot was, and then on the inside, I like to go through it one more time just to be sure. And then on the inside, you just want to go through here and just hide your tail. I usually go one way, make sure I don't pull it too tight, and then go back the other way. So now we're going to continue on. You've done row 2, and we need to do 9 more rows. So you're going to chain 2, go right back into that, chain space, and double crochet. And this, I do not count this as a stitch. And you just want to continue on slip stitching at the end of each row to the first stitch, not the chain, the stitch, and chaining 2 and continuing to go around until you have 9 more rows. So you'll have a total of 11 rows. And I will meet you back at the end when we're ready to join the top of the hat. Okay, I'm coming up to the end of row 11, and I just have a couple of more stitches left to go. And then we're gonna slip stitch, and your hat should look something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you slip stitch together at the top, and you're going to go ahead and chain 1. And now we're going to turn the hat just like this, and we're going to go ahead and single crochet this top edge together. So what you want to do is go in both loops like you're doing a regular single crochet, on both sides, so you have 4 loops on the hook. Pull it through again. So single crochet all the way across. You should have to do it 21 times because we had 42 stitches around, but we've now folded it in half. So you should do 21 single crochets across, and I will meet you at the end. Okay, so now that you've single crocheted across, you're going to go ahead and chain 1, cut your yarn long enough so that you can pull it through and weave in your tail. And if you haven't already, go ahead and cut the bottom tail that you weaved in earlier. And we will go ahead and, I like to just go ahead and get this out of the way. So I'm just going to go under a few of those single crochet stitches at the top. And I like to go ahead and pull on it and make sure I haven't pulled it too tight. And then when I weave back through, I've come out this stitch and I skip it when I go back through so that it secures it a little bit better. Not too tight because you don't want to change the shape of your hat. And then cut that off. So now you have the basic body of the owl hat, and we're going to go ahead and make the eyes and the beak. For the eyes, we're going to make a slip knot, and we're going to chain 2, and we're going to single crochet 8 into that first chain that you made. pull that string, pull that yarn a little in the back. It's not going to show. It's going to be covered up when you sew it up. And we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into the first single crochet that we made and chain 1, and then we're going to go right back into that same stitch and place 2 single crochets, and we're going to place 2 single crochets in every single crochet from the previous row, and at the end you should have 16 single crochets. Then when you get back to the beginning, you're just going to go ahead and slip stitch closed, and then chain 1, cut your yarn, pull it through, and there's your first iris, and we need to make another one. For the white part of the eye, we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to do one more additional row. So you're going to chain 2, and you're going to go into your first chain, and you're going to single crochet 8 back into that first chain. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to go ahead and slip stitch into that first single crochet you made of that row, and you're going to chain 1, and you're going to go right back into that previous single crochet, and you're going to place 2 single crochets in each single crochet from the previous row, and you'll have a total of 16 single crochets. you're going to slip stitch into that first stitch you made in that row and chain 1. And now you're going to go ahead and place 1 single crochet in that first single crochet from the previous row, and then you're going to do 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And the next stitch you're going to do 1, and the next one 2. And that's our pattern: 1 2 1 2 1 2. And keep going around, and at the end of that row you'll have 24 single crochets. And when you get back around to the beginning, you're going to go ahead and slip stitch, chain 1, and then cut your yarn and pull through. And when we finish the iris will go on the white part just like this towards the top. So you're going to make another one of these. So now we're going to do the outer part of the eyes. We're going to go ahead and make a slip knot with the gray or whatever color you choose to use. And we're going to go ahead and insert our hook and pull up a loop. And pull through 2. And that's your first single crochet. Now we're going to skip 1 and we're going to do 3 double crochets into the next stitch. And we're going to skip 1, do a single crochet, the next one, and do 3 double crochets into the next stitch. So we're going to make a shell stitch, 3 single crochets, and we're going to skip one, do a single crochet into the next, skip one, double 3 double crochets into the next, skip one and do a single crochet into the next, skip one and do 3 double crochets into the next, skip one and do a single crochet into the next, skip one and do 3 double crochets into the next, skip one and do a single crochet into the next, skip one and do a double crochet, 3 double crochets into the next, skip one, and then we're going to go ahead and single crochet in that same starting stitch. And then I'm going to go ahead and give it a slip stitch, chain, and then cut that, pull your yarn through. So basically you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shell stitches. And we're going to do that on the... Alright, now we're going to make the eyelids for both of the eyes, and I'm going to make them out of gray. So we're going to start by making a slip knot. Insert your hook. And we're going to chain 10. It's going to look like it's too big, but when we attach it, it's going to give it some texture there. It's going to be raised off of the eye. So we chain 10. So we're gonna do a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. This is not your first chain. This one is. So the second chain from your hook, single crochet, single crochet, all the way down. you will have 9 single crochets. You're going to chain 1 and turn, and we are going to do a single crochet decrease in the first 2 stitches. So insert your hook, pull up a loop in the first stitch, insert your hook in the second stitch, pull up a loop, and then go through all 3. And then you're going to do a single crochet in every stitch across until you get to the last 2. And then we're going to add another single crochet decrease. So here's the last 2. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, insert your hook again, pull up another loop, and decrease. Chain 1 and then turn, and we're going to do another decrease. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, insert your hook in the second stitch, pull up a loop, pull through all 3, and then we're going to do a single crochet across into each stitch until we get to the last 2. And then we're going to do another decrease. Go ahead and do a slip knot and then cut your yarn. Okay, so now we're going to make the beak. Okay, to start, we're going to make a slip knot. We're going to chain 2. We're going to insert 3 single crochets in the first stitch that you made, or the second chain from the hook. We're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to insert 2 single crochets into the first stitch. One single crochet into the next stitch, and 2 single crochets into the last stitch. You should have 5. You're going to chain 1 and turn, 2 single crochets into the first stitch, one single crochet into the next 3 stitches, and 2 single crochets into the last stitch for a total of 7 single crochets. You're getting this little, this is the end of its beak, so you're getting this little beak shape. And on the next row, you're going to chain 1 and turn, and you're going to insert 2 single crochets into the first stitch. 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. And 2 single crochets into the last stitch. So you have a total of 9 single crochets. And then we'll do that one more time. 2 single crochets into the first stitch. Oh, don't forget to chain 1 and turn. 2 single crochets into the first stitch. 1 single crochet over the next 7 stitches. And 2 single crochets into the last stitch for a total of 11. And then we'll do that one more time, chain 1 and turn, 2 single crochets into the first stitch, one single crochet, one single crochet into the next 9 stitches, and 2 single crochets into the last stitch, and you'll have a total of 13 single crochets. Last row, you're going to chain 1 and turn, insert 2 single crochets into the first and last stitch of the row, and then 1 single crochet in each stitch across or in between. Now you're going to chain 1 and cut your yarn long enough to sew it on. And we are finished making the pieces for our owl. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew in the end of the beak here. Come on. Once you do that, your beak looks way more pointed. So it is going to go on your hat like this. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and sew on the irises, and you want to sew them towards the top, not in the middle. Well, you can sew them in the middle if you would like to, but I like it better sewn more towards the top. So you want to do that on both of these pieces. And you just hold it at the top. You don't have to worry too much about the back. No one's gonna see it. And I just go ahead and tie it to one of the yarns that's behind there, because again, no one's going to see this part. It's going to get tucked in when you sew that down. Let's do the other one. This one doesn't have a yarn to attach it to, so I'm just going to go ahead and hide my yarn. It's okay if your back's messy, no one's going to see it. And there we have the second iris on there. So now it's time to sew on the eyelids, and these are a bit trickier. I like to start at the top and you want to sew across. You want to let this curve across that seam where you put the shell stitches onto the white part. So you just have to kind of play with it. If you go on the back and you go along that line and pick that up again there, you should be just perfect. And now you're going to just go along this last bit of the eyelid, keeping it there in that seam. So now we have to come back and do this side. So let's go ahead and hide our tail. Hide your tail. Go ahead and cut that one. So go ahead and attach your second eyelid, and then I'll come back and show you how we sew everything together. So for the beak, you're gonna start sewing on the where the second and the third row meet. You're going to place it approximately 4 stitches apart so that it stands out. This part is a little more fiddly, so you have to keep checking, or you can pin it, however you like to do that. This is what the back looks like. You can barely see those stitches, and then you want to go ahead and hide them. Hide your tail. Making sure that your yarn is not showing through where you can see it on the front. And then you're going to cut that off. And now you're going to sew on the eyes, and I like to kind of butt them together. You can angle them, they can be straight, you can have one of them a little cocked to the side, however you would like your owl to look. Unfortunately, I didn't leave enough yarn at the top, so I'm probably going to have to use more yarn. But I just keep adjusting it, making sure that I have it where I want it. It's quite the fiddly part of the process. Just keep it in the gray so that that doesn't show anywhere else. If you can make it line up, you can just simply go over each shell stitch and single crochet. So that it blends into your project. Then hide your tail. Come on. and cut your end off. And then now you need to sew on your last side. Nice and snug there. It helps to make the beak point out. And just keep a firm grip on the eye as you're sewing, and you won't have to readjust as much. And then you want to hide your tail for that second one, and hopefully you've left more yarn than I have. Oh dear. And then you want to cut off your tail. And now you have this cute little owl hat. Now you can put this face up higher if you want. You can make the beak wider if you want to. However you would like to sew it on. But I love it. So I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. And I hope you get a lot of fun out of the owl hat. My grandson loves his. If you like my video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Here is another owl hat that I made. So you can make it in different colors. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you get notifications. Have a great day.